This will be in the blooper reel. So now, Jason, you've been educated on the framework and structure. That is going to be something that you're going to keep on using throughout your career. As a journalist, as a salesperson, as a PR, whatever, you are always going to be needing to convince people to do something that they otherwise might not be entirely comfortable doing, okay? They might prefer to spend Sunday with their family, but you're going to convince them to give you an interview. They might want to, go back to work and, attend a meeting, but you're going to convince them to take a look at their new business plan, okay? So this is an art, it's a craft, and you do need to have some structure. Just like if you're learning photography, you need to know something about color, about camera lens, about f-stop, about all these, let's say, technical details. Otherwise, you don't have a framework to build further knowledge on. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you build trust while you're doing discovery?
With trust to discovery? Oh. Yeah, I think so.
Of course you can. In fact, a lot of discovery is furthering the trust. When we invite inspirational speakers to our office and the moderator and host asks a irrelevant follow-up question, do you think that makes the inspirational speaker trust the moderator more or less?
Less.
Yeah, let's say we're talking about careers, we're talking about leadership, and all of a sudden the moderator says, I think I forgot what time is lunch. What time is lunch over there for you, sir? You're asking a completely irrelevant, it proves that you're not listening, right? It proves that there's no communication happening. So the discovery process, if you're finding that your questions are getting better and they're answering faster and faster, then you are building trust. You are showing that you are trying to understand the client's needs and approach them from a very personal, very human way, okay? Can you further your introduction during discovery?
For my introduction, yeah.
Of course. Let's say, for example, you find out that the client went to the same college as you, or studied in the same major, or had anything else. Then that's another opportunity for you to also deepen your introduction. You can say, oh, what a coincidence. I also went to Sima a few years ago and explored the city. Do you like going to this place? And you go, yeah, of course, that's my favorite room, right? So the introduction process is also a continuous process, okay? So in any stage of the sales cycle, you should also appreciate that you are doing all the previous stages as well. When you're in pattern matching, you can still do an introduction, right? You can still get to know each other better. When you're doing the discovery, you can still be building trust. When you're closing the deal, you should probably move towards the end and not go back to the beginning again. But let's say the deal is not closing, the deal is not moving ahead. It's a good time to go back and discover, right? Maybe there's something that we forgot to actually talk about. So maybe you can talk to me about why do you want to wait until the very end to learn how to use BBGO? There's already a lot of good information on it that can prepare you as an owner for a entry into a competitive market space, right? So you can always do this particular thing. And then if you have discovery, then you can go, you told me on the first meeting you were worried about a very competitive marketplace, and that's why we created BGO. That's why you should learn how to use it today, because as soon as you start going in, you'll see that you're tapped into very strategic and insightful news on our action feed, right? But once again, in order to offer a benefit, you need to have discovered what the client feels, what their environment look like. And so that way you're not singing to an audience that doesn't want to listen to your genre of music. You're not singing country music to an electronic audience, or you're not singing pop to a classical music audience. You need to make sure that you've identified that client's emotional process as well. Okay? All right, great. That's a follow-up of reel.